is the nation's number one talk news and sports radio station. We are broadcasting live from our audiovisual studios right here, and it's me and Crescent Victoria, Lagos. Welcome to the Big Hard Facts. I am Maryann Okon, and we're going to be taking a look at the recent constitution amendments and the zonal hearings that had been put in place by the National Assembly. I mean, the average person who's a skeptic will say, really? Another constitutional review, another round of public hearings, another promise to listen to the people. But haven't we been here before? I mean, for over 2 decades, we've amended the 1999 Constitution, yet the cracks in our foundation keep widening. State police remains a debate, while Nigerians are being killed in farms, in villages, and even in their homes. Electoral reform remains unfinished, and every election cycle leaves more Nigerians disillusioned. Disillusioned. I know how many people have told me, I'm not coming out to vote. Why should I vote? There's no need. I can't. The herder-farmer crisis rages on, but then there is still no clear constitutional framework for land use, ranching, or security. So the real question is, will this review finally lead to change, or are we witnessing yet another rehearsal performance to maintain status quo? Well, my guest today has been at the heart of state lawmaking. He's a 2-time Speaker of the Cross River State House of Assembly, Right Honorable John-Gaul Lebo. So we're going to try as much as possible to cut through the noise and just go straight into the conversation. I think he's having some connection issues, but I'm hoping that he can hear me. Honorable, it's so good to have you join us. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I'm trying to get you to unmute yourself. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Ooh.
Can you hear me too?
Yes, I can hear you, but your internet is a bit wonky.
I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. I can hear you now. Let me start by asking,
Yes.
I mean, the 10th National Assembly, as we all know, has launched a new round of constitutional amendment and hearings across the country in different regions. We've seen citizens, CSOs, political actors, and traditional institutions all being made to give their submissions. They're going to be talking about state police, local government autonomy, electoral reforms, etc., etc. Why does this particular round of constitutional amendment matter? Like I said in my opener, we've had similar reforms and amendments. What has it really changed, and why is this one more important than the previous ones that we've had?
Okay, I think first of all, every constitutional amendment is a chapter in the legislative business. So first you have a chapter where, or a section where they are dedicated to certain provisions. And once they are able to deliberate on that provisions and take out the internal processes of the House, they have to take it out for what is called public hearing, which is the review. The purpose of the review is to get the inputs of constituents into the direction that the legislature has taken in terms of the amendment. So depending on the issues formulated at each particular session of that amendment, that once that issue is determined in the House, it has to be taken for that review, so that input can come in from various constituents before it is now sent to the various houses of assembly for their consequential amendments and approvals. So if, for instance, the National Assembly in a particular assembly is able to take 1 or 2 different sections of constitutional review, a section of constitutional review can take about 5-6 sections, or can take about 3-4 sections. Like now, the emphasis is on the electoral reforms, the emphasis is on state creation, fiscal federalism, devolution of powers, and all of those issues. Now that the House is done, both the House of Reps and the Senate, they are done with that presentation of the second reading in the floor of the House. It then has to go back to for that review. So the purpose of the review, the significance of that review, is so that the various constituents in the constituents in the various senatorial districts and in the federal constituencies can make their input. For instance, now the issue is quite, you're talking about state creation, and state creation is very, very important in the essence that each of those areas, all of the states demanding for state creation, may eventually end up with a referendum. So people need to bring in their inputs at the amount of local government, the rationale why they want the state, and all of those issues. It may even involve issue of boundary amendments, adjustments, which is under section difficult provision. So you have to deal with that whole process. So this round of public hearing is particularly important because of the issues that have been formulated in the constitutional amendments, taken on the floor of the House on second reading, and which none has input by the public. So they call it public hearing with his other bill, but they call it review.
Yeah, I want to push you further in that public review or public hearing. The framers of this review say it's people driven. But really, how many Nigerians, how many ordinary Nigerians are even aware that this is happening? Should we be honest and admit that this is just an elite negotiation? Because I'm sure if I went with my microphone to town now and asked people if they're aware of the constitutional review or amendment, most of them will look at me like, what? So is it really people driven?
Well, first of all, you need to know that the Constitution is first a very elitist document. The Constitution is not like every other document, it's very elitist. When I mean elitist is that even the manner in which our Constitution is passed, the manner in which the Constitution is framed, is not a document of the ordinary people. The language of the Constitution is too legalistic.
But then it affects the ordinary person.
In which look at how Yes, I'm agreeing with you that is not people driven in the sense that, and it starts from the foundation of the document itself. Remember that this is not a constitution that came out of a military regime. They went through constituent assembly. People were selected to go and represent the people. All the people who were selected were all elites. I imagine how many such people came back and were able to brief people in their villages, communities, and towns about the implication of the Constitution. The ordinary people don't even know the Constitution. They don't know their rights under the Constitution. So the Constitution for now is a legislative document, it's an elitist document, it's a lawyer's document, it's a document for politicians. Where I visit a session of the House of Assembly or the National Assembly, they go into constitutional amendments. And the reason why that is even so is because the Constitution that was passed by the military regime in 1999, it's basically a document that was done in a hurry, to be able to put together a democratic process. And a lot of those provisions are no longer in tandem with current realities on ground. Nigerians are going through a lot which the Constitution cannot answer to, and which is why these issues have to be taken one after the other. And if you also look at the issues raised, just like you said, I mean, with electoral reform you're looking at, how does it affect the people? How does it affect the reality on ground? People are hungry. Things are difficult. The price of food item in the market is skyrocketing. And then we are talking about electoral review, the law, the election should hold on the same day, and all of those issues. How does it relate to the people? Then even when we are talking about the issue of state creation and all of that, yes, some benefit to the people, because first, probably maybe more local governments, maybe more state constituencies, more council wards, and then at the end of the day, people will benefit from it. Yeah, I agree. But if you ask people, they're creating new states is not their problem. At the end of the day, most states can't even generate enough revenue to take care of the welfare of their people. State governments are still owing salaries. The state government can't even pay salaries of people. Some state government are living from hand to mouth and relying on the tax to survive. The only issue there in that constitutional amendment, which I think will make sense to the people, is probably the issue of security, state security, state police, and all of that. So we were able to create a new security architecture that can cater for the communities and grassroots, and then villages and communities. And so all this idea of state police can now be incorporated, and you have a state security advisory council that is able to sit down and then look at the peculiar situation of each geopolitical zone, each community is state. For instance, my state, Cross River State, what about our own peculiar security architecture? How do we deal with it? Why do you need to bring me a DPO in my local government of Abi from Katsina to come and be DPO in Abi, who probably is coming there for the first time, doesn't know what's happening?
The language.
Why do you need to bring me a commissioner of police from Sokoto? What kind of federalism are you practicing? I mean, what sense does it make? Does he understand the economy of the people? Does he understand our way of life? Security is about the people. And once you don't, if the people don't understand and you don't even understand, how many of them will understand the local languages and able to communicate and pass on information? So state security for me is one important provision in that constitutional amendment, which I think should be taken headlong.
Lovely. You've answered almost all my questions, because I was going to ask that, as you have been a 2-time House of Assembly Speaker, you obviously have presided over some of these consultations, and the average Nigerian is asking, okay, these ones that we have done, the previous ones, which particular one law has fundamentally changed our lives? And secondly, you talked about the issue of, the kind of federalism that we're practicing, because I was going to ask you that can this new constitutional amendment deliver the kind of federalism we want? But then you've touched on something that I want to talk about: state security. We yes have a cost of living crisis, which is also as a result of the insecurity in the areas where we call the food basket of our nation. How do we just say we're unleashing state policing when there are reports upon reports saying that the people who are have their hand in the issue of insecurity in certain parts of the country are elites, and some of them have ended up in the corridors of power? How do we deal with that issue? How do we deal with the issue of state policing if we do not deal with terrorism? Because you can't just keep throwing policemen there to be killed. I mean, we've seen how some of our soldiers have been killed. A couple of them were killed last week, just like that. There is no strategy. Is it enough to just make laws and just say, okay, we want state police? Will state police solve the problem of terrorism and insecurity across the country?
Yeah, yes, I agree with you. In fact, first of all, the first issue you raised about the data, in my time, we passed the bill, the not too young to run bill, which at least of benefit, reduce the age of young people, allow young people to participate in the electoral process. You have from 25 years and all of that. Before, it used to be about 30 something. You can't run for that one. Too young to run bill, had some value. And I'm proud to say that I was chairman of the Speakers Forum when that bill was passed. We were able to gather to mobilize 24 states. I think we got 26 to get that bill passed. That's one aspect. The second issue about security is that, first of all, a serious security system starts with a security governance architecture. And the community governance architecture, security governance architecture must be local. It's like politics, security is local. The kind of security situations you're going to find in Calabar is different from what you're going to find in Sokoto or Kebbi or Zamfara. They are all different. And so the first foundation to start a security strategy is to have a law, is the legal framework. So first have the law first to authorize cross-river state government to have a state police, okay, to recruit young people from Akpabi, from Odukwane, and those communities who are interested. It probably pick them when they are young in the universities and then let them enroll into the police. Policing is a professional career. Requires intelligence gathering and all of that issue. So first, it is local, and we must deal with it local. Now, security in Nigeria is treated as a national issue. There is the Inspector General of Police in charge of 250 million people. There's no country in the world if you have such a situation. Even India or China, you don't have it. Even ordinary Ghana here with ordinary regions, you don't have it. So we need to domesticate our police system. We need to domicile our police system. We need to deal with local security system. What you're calling terrorism started in a small manner in small communities. Issues of land grabbing, issues of Ruga, issues of herdsmen, conflict. It started in small communities and villages, and then it spilled over into a national issue to the point where they will move all the way from Katsina to Benue and be killing people. And then before you know, even some areas of Cross River State in Obudu and all of that, they have the same incident in Obanli Kuyala. They have the same incident. So it is a failure of our inability to design a national strategy that recognizes the peculiar economic geography the socio-economic differences, the way of life of the people, the crime history of the community. That is important. The crime history of the community. If you go to for instance, Cross River State, and all of that, you find a lot of incidents that happen in the inside the waterways within the river. All of these bunkering activities, all of this other crime. You won't find that in Sokoto. So what you need in Cross River State and Akwa Ibom State, you need marine police, still more than what you need in Katsina and all of that area. So I believe that the first foundation to be able to deal with national security is to domesticate and domicile localize our policing system. It's not just policing. I'm talking about the security institution. Remember that the DSS is state security service. You can't have it as a state institution. The army, you cannot have it. The air force, you can't have it. The armed forces cannot be controlled by state. But at least the issue of policing should be controlled by states at small level. Now, look at the issue of vigilante groups in various communities. Look at the issues of vigilante groups. You have a lot of these small bodies. Some of the incidents that you have. I remember when I was in the house, when I was speaker, we had issues in certain communities where they were fighting over small portion of farmland, less than 1,000 hectares. And because of the inability of the communities to resolve that issue, at the end of the day, they ended up in a war situation. They killed over 50 people because of less than 1,000 hectares of land. That issue can be dealt with if there's a good security.
I want you to hold that thought. We're going to continue this conversation on state policing, but we have to go on a quick break. Lagos, we'll be right back.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We'll be right back.
All right, class, settle down. Today, let's talk about how you started your day.
We got dressed and had pancakes with John-Gaul 3-in-1 chocolate for breakfast.
My mom makes John-Gaul 3-in-1 chocolate for us too.
My mom calls it instant goodness. My sister and I always put it inside our pap. It's so yummy.
John-Vent's 3-in-1 chocolate is a chocolate drink made of rich cocoa, milk, and sugar. Available nationwide in stores. John-Vent's 3-in-1 chocolate. Enjoy instant goodness.
Hey, you! Yes, you with the big dreams and bigger ginger. What if we told you your mouthpiece could be your meal ticket?
Welcome to the Lagos Realtors' biggest hangout, where connections are made, games are played, and real estate bosses are born. Join us as Dr. Salvation Onomraba, the MD CEO of Bliss Legacy Limited, spills the real tea on mastering sales and real estate. Looking for a job, a new hustle, or just tired of being broke and cute? Well, this is your golden ticket to level up.
Date, Friday 11th of July 2025. Venue, Bliss Legacy Limited, 54B Adeniyi Jones, Ikeja, right by the AGO building. There's networking, games, vibes, and chill refreshments to keep the ideas flowing.
For more information, call 0815-229-2071. That's 0815-229-2071.
The Lagos Realtors' biggest hangout. Don't just show up, glow up. Powered by Bliss Legacy Limited. Changing lives one deal at a time.
My ions, please, can't get enough. My ions, please, give it to me now, now. It gon' rehydrate you, yeah. Replenish your ions with Pocari Sweat. Rehydrate you faster, easily observe. Pocari Sweat, give me some more. Pocari Sweat.
Little body, big moves. Little brain, big learning. Your little child is eager to do big things. Every sachet of Cerelac Junior comes with the nutrition they need: natural grains, protein, and iron to support their physical growth, learning, and development. So you can fully enjoy your little one's big moments of growth.
Hi, this is Nene from the boat safety team. You can't see us, but we're right here with you on every boat ride. To your left is the ride insurance team. We insure your ride as soon as your trip starts. To your right is the record audio team. We keep a recording of your trip for 24 hours in case you need it later. And behind you is the customer support team, ready to chat 24/7. We're the boat safety team, by your side on every ride.
Hey, rewards to the lander! When I buy airtime and data on any network,
I get up to 10% cash back.
I pay my NEPA, DSTV, or StarTimes and call
3% cash back.
Now so, smart cash back, don't get reloaded.
And they load my wallet.
Hey, it's the Smart Cash back reloaded. Top up airtime or data on any network and get up to 10% cash back, or pay your electricity or cable TV bill and get 3% cash back sharply. Only on Smart Cash. No dull yourself. Download the Smart Cash app or dial *939# to start today.
Terms and conditions, they shall.
This taste na banger, this taste na creamy rich, this taste na new Nescafe, original 3-in-1. Thickness, enjoyment, yumminess, happiness, delightfulness, deliciousness, smoothness. This taste na new Nescafe, original 3-in-1.
Enjoy more creamy richness with the new Nescafe Original 3-in-1 in the new pack. That's strong, finish strong.
Success is like an aeroplane. You only see the graceful flight high up in the sky, but not the roaring, powerful engines propelling it. Likewise, in the world of e-payments, you only see transactions done, funds remitted. But who pioneered these financial technology solutions? Well, you knew it as Value Card, now Unified Payments, Nigeria's premier financial technology service provider. Yes, it starts here. Find out more at www.up-ng.com. Unified Payments, unifying businesses for people.
Auntie, you are enjoying, oh, only you. Peppered rice, amala, nkwobi, masa, cake, and now ice cream. I hope you have Jesty Fizz on you.
Jesty Fizz? I never leave home without it.
That's right, Jesty Fizz, the new natural effervescent powder for an instant refreshing relief from heartburn and stomach indigestion. Just add Jesty Fizz into a cup of water, drink, and you're good to go. Jesty Fizz, your relief on the go. Jesty Fizz is from the House of Gestede. If symptoms persist after 3 days, consult your doctor. Made and marketed by Ranbaxy Nigeria Limited, a Sun Pharma company.
What you're about to taste is so hot, it's got basket mouth singing.
Mini Ninja Pepe flavor. Yeah. Mini Ninja Pepe flavor. Chris. Heat.
Nothing brings the heat like the bold taste of Mini-Me Noodles Naija Pepper Flavor. Try it today and see for yourself. Mini-Me Noodles Naija Pepper Flavor. Slurp it like it's hot.
Hey ladies, do you know Nigerian women are celebrated for their radiant glowing skin? That's right. But with a hot sun, protecting our skin can be a challenge.
Good news! Perfectio by Vitabiotics UK gives you targeted support for great-looking skin, hair, and nails. Packed with biomarine collagen, botanical extracts, and other micronutrients which contribute to skin hydration and radiance while reducing other skin imperfections. Available in pharmacies near you. Perfectil, beauty from within.
99.3 Nigeria Info.
Your number one station for talk. Let's talk.
Millions of listeners trust us on Hard Fact. Whether it's politics, social issues, controversies, and trending stories. You know we're credible and objective.
It's Hard Facts with Maryann Okon on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Yes, it's still the Big Hard Facts. 32 minutes gone past the 5 o'clock hour on the Big Hard Facts. We've been talking about the constitutional review and the hearings across the different regions in the country. My guest is a two-time Speaker of the Cross River State House of Assembly and my friend, Right Honourable John-Gaul Lebo. And we've been talking about, some of the concerns that the average Nigerian has and what the end game is and if it would be actually to the benefit of the average Nigerian, as opposed to what a lot have termed as elitist. Anyway, before we went on the break, he was making a case for state policing and dealing with these issues, and he talked about vigilante. Honorable, before we went on that break, you were talking about, a scenario where there was an issue of land grab in some parts of the state where, vigilantes were involved. Can you please tell us more about it?
Okay, so I was trying to buttress the fact that, first you need to understand the peculiar socio-economic geography of each state, each local government. You also need to understand their culture, their way of life, and their practices, because conflict that arises out of their way of life, out of their culture, their custom, and their culture. And so once as a state, you lack the institutions with the capacity to understand first the content of the nature and the culture of the people, and then you superimpose a security model based on a national policing strategy, one Inspector General of Police, one Commissioner of Police, one AIG, one DPO, like as if it's as if it's a GO, General Overseer of a church, trying to prophesy into security situations in the community. You're going to have these issues. So in that situation I try to cite, we discovered that there was just a dispute between two families from different communities. That issue would have been resolved. One had 60%, the other one had 40%. Because this other community now had more money, wanted to take over 80%. And then that crisis erupted, and they killed a lot of people. We intervened in the situation. Police came. Three police officers, were injured. One was kidnapped and was never found. So, but when we intervened in the matter, we discovered that it was a cultural issue. We had to go down. Who is the owner of this land? Who are the families? What's the landholding system? What's the customary rights of occupancy structure? And that issue was resolved first by the customary courts. You understand? And that is what would have happened in that context. Now, the DPO then that was sent came from Katsina. He didn't even understand the situation. He went there, arrested one of the chiefs, and then the youth went on rampage, destroyed the police station, and say, how we arrest our chief, the chiefs that they say are the sacred person. The respect that people have for traditional institutions vary in different situations. So for me, we need to, like yesterday, to ensure that the Constitution recognizes a peculiar security architecture in each state. What should happen in the Osun State is different from Ekiti. What should happen in Ekiti is different from Cross River State. What should happen in Cross River is different from Benue. All of that land structure, community structure, custom, behavior, and all of that, they are all different. So if a security situation where you give the power of the state to have a state police, we are not saying there will be no federal police. The federal police will still be there. After all, you still have FBI in the US. But you have the New York police, like in the US.
You have the Chicago PD, you have the NYPD. Yes.
Yes, exactly. Just imagine that the security station happens in New York and they are waiting for FBI. FBI only comes in to intervene because there's a local security system embedded in the community, in the way of life of the people. They're able to preempt, they're able to gather information and deal with that information gathering. So that security station will be of benefit to the people. What we are going through now in this country, where people are unable to go to farms in particular parts of the country, where people are kidnapped, for ransom, all of this situation is coming out of our inability to manage small pockets of crisis in different regions of the country. So people are not importing those crimes to different locations. A kidnapper in Sokoto who finds that if he goes to Port Harcourt, people will bring more money and all of that. We relocate and go to those places. In fact, you saw the situation of what happened in Osun State, Ondo State, where and then even recently in Edo State, where Fulani cattle rearers or so, or farmers or whatever you call them, or settlers, were being transported, and in suspicion people kill them. Because you have situation where you hear that a particular forest, like in Benue, have been taken over by some kind of foreigners. I don't know where they are coming from. So we can no longer rely on a national police to deal with peculiar local security situations.
Yeah. Before I open up the phone lines, because a lot of people are calling already, these are issues, obviously, just as you are interested in the state policing and state security, everyone else obviously is interested in it. But I cannot not have this conversation with you, whether it's being prioritized in this amendment or not. The issue of local government financial autonomy. We've talked about it. We've argued about it. The presidency made a move. The attorney general made a move. As someone who has presided over a state assembly, what do you think the challenge is? Why do you think state governments and even assemblies consistently block this issue of local government financial autonomy? I'm asking also because, again, whether we like it or not, whether they coin it to say, oh, local governments are an appendage of the state or whatever, they have duties set out in the Constitution, and half the time they're unable to carry out those responsibilities because the finances that are supposedly to be allocated to them never really get to them. And ditto for the local government elections. Whatever governor sits at in government house, it's his people that win local government elections. How are we supposed to practice a democracy in a situation such as this?
Okay, thank you very much. I think the issue of local government autonomy has become a political cancer. It's been reoccurring over and over as we try to deal with it, it reoccurs. And the reason why it will continue to reoccur is that we are very theoretical about it. We are politicizing the issues. We are not trying to deal with the issues in a strategic manner in such a way that we can achieve results. We are just and then avoid the other issues. And I give you a typical example. You're talking about the local government system, which is supposed to be a third arm of government, with the legislature with its own executive. Okay? And then the constitution itself, which is the first problem of the local government, provides that the local government, the House of Assembly of the states, has the legislative authority to make laws for the good governance of the local government system.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so once that happens, the immaturity, sorry to use the word, but the immaturity or the lack of understanding of some of the houses of assemblies who will just take any bill, no matter what it is, on local government without looking at the peculiar situation in the local government is a big problem. Now, if you check the local government laws of various states, I want to encourage you to look for one of the Lagos State local government law and see how ridiculous the provisions are. The House of Assembly presides over the affairs of local government, and then they make decisions for deductions of funds. They create state institutions and provide percentage of funds that should be deducted from local government because the Constitution gives them that power. So that's the first challenge of the local government. The second challenge of the local government is that why are we interested only in financial autonomy? Why did we jump into financial autonomy without looking at subject matter autonomy? What about subject matter autonomy? The Constitution has over 100 and something provisions for the federal, over 60 something provisions for the state. How many for local government? 2 or 3. To take a television license, motor park, the touts in motor park to collect levies. So can you check the radio television license? Can you even check the Constitution or ask your local government chairman, what is the jurisdiction of authority of the local government under the Constitution? Check it. It is very ridiculous. So the question is that the Constitution itself has been intentional the Constitution has already created a rating system for the local government, maybe 3% relevance. The House of Assembly has brushed over the remaining aspect. So the question is that when you check the local government allocation, because of the items in the legislative list, the item in the constitutional list determines the amount of money available to each arm of government. The federal government has more allocation because it has more items in the exclusive list. The state government has the second highest because it has items in the concurrent list. The local government has nothing because they have 3 or 4 items in the residual list. Now the question is that ask the question. The legislature of the local government, what is the jurisdiction of their lawmaking? Those councillors, what is the jurisdiction of their law?
That is a good question. I've always thought about it. Like, what exactly is their responsibility?
Exactly. Even your local government chairman, what exactly? Okay, for instance, now we talk about rural roads. There's Rural Road Development Agency at the state level. We talk about rural electrification. There's rural electrification
water,
development agency.
Primary health care. Yeah.
No, let's even start with the primary school education, there's superb at the state level. Primary healthcare is supposed to be there. That is why, even as a legislator, I found it difficult to back the financial autonomy of local government. If all the administrative responsibility of the local government has been taken over by states through the House of Assembly and the states are created institution, the money you want to give autonomy to local government is to do what? It is to handle what exactly? Because it's like they have outsourced all the activities and functions of the local government to the states.
But does that not mean that the states are usurping the powers of the local government? Does that not mean that they're taking
they are usurping? That's what I'm saying, that we shouldn't jump into. Look, how will you find a cancer? Then you jump into one aspect, take it out, and leave the other. We're dealing with. We're talking about financial autonomy. Can we go back to deal with subject matter autonomy of the local government? Can we expand the residual list and give them more power? Can we remove the powers of the House of Assembly to make laws for local government and leave it for the local government legislature? It starts with that before you cannot talk about the financial autonomy. As long as the governor is the one dealing with rural roads, rural electrification, primary healthcare, primary schools management, and all of that. I mean, the local government chairman are left with chieftaincy matters to pay traditional rulers and all of that. So at the end of the day, the bulk of that responsibility is taken away. So for me, let us deal with the subject matter of authority of the local government. Can we confer proper authority? The way the state government has the House of Assembly, the local government have their own councillors and legislation. Can we give them power to make laws for their local government?
Yeah.
Can we give them power to make laws? Can we expand the jurisdiction of the chairman of local government to cover more areas without having to depend on the state government? How many local government have internal generated revenue agencies? None. They rely on the states. They don't even generate revenue because it's 3 items they have to look for, while the state government has over 40 or 60 items. So they are left in a limbo. So for me, this issue of financial autonomy is just a decoy. In practice, it will not work because when you get down, you will find out. In practice, it won't work because you find that those institutions, okay, for instance, now let me shock you. Does the local government have a civil service? They don't. The local government service commission is in the state.
Yeah.
It is the state government agencies that recruit staff for the local government. Then you now talk about they fix their salaries and all of that. The Ministry of Local Government have their staffs who are responsible for those issues. The local government service commission is an institution of the state. Like you have the state civil service commission under the responsibility of the governor. The local government service commission is under the responsibility of the state government. So the autonomy you're talking about to give to local government in respect of what? Their salaries that are paid from the local Ministry of the local government service commission. What do they take responsibility? So those are the issues I feel that once we deal with it, we can now go into that is why.
Okay.
And that is why it has been difficult. We deal with the issue today, it comes up again. We deal with it. If you like, get a Supreme Court judgment, it will work. If you like, get an executive order, it will not work.
All right.
That's to amend the constitution.
Let's open up the phone lines. Let's see what we can do with the 7 minutes that we have. Lagos, join the conversation. I'm going to try as much as possible to milk the time that we have with the Honorable. 30 seconds. Go straight to the point with your questions so he can answer. 0201-277-0993. If you're just joining us, Right Honorable John-Gaul Lebo. Lebo, I beg your pardon. Why am I calling him Lebo, please? He is a two-time Speaker of the Cross River State House of Assembly, and we're talking about the ongoing constitutional reforms and amendments and the hearings and how it does affect us one after the other. 0201-277-0993, 0201-277-0993. We're live on Facebook and on YouTube. Post your comments. We would like to hear from you. Hello. Welcome to Hard Facts.
Yeah, good evening, Maryann.
Good evening. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Go ahead, quickly.
Now, Maryann, what they want to do there is a mumbo jumbo as far as I'm concerned. You have the bill already. You are not going back to the public. Is that what the Constitution says? As a speaker there, Maryann, did you have an input in that bill they have with them? Did I have an input? Is that what the Constitution says? So they will first get the bill before they will now go, okay, who is going to gather at where? Okay. I will spend my money and go and is that how the Constitution says? They are just doing mumbo jumbo.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. 30 seconds is what everybody has. For those of you who are asking for the PRO's number, I will drop it just before the show is over, so please pay attention. Hello, welcome to Hard Facts.
Hello.
Yeah, good evening, Maryann. Good evening to your guest, Maduka from Festa.
Yes, go ahead.
On the issue of state police, as somebody who studied in Abeokuta, did youth service in Katsina, and lives in Lagos, I say no to state police. I suffered in the last election in the hands of dog because we are too ethnic-minded to allow, because even the recruitment into that, unless I agree with him, there should be some kind of a security architecture that will the recruitment will be representative of the tribes in that area instead of mainly the people. If it's mainly the people, if you go on Twitter and see what's going on, and you imagine if you
Maduka, I was waiting for you to land though, because I gave everybody 30 seconds.
Yeah, okay. You get the gist of
I get the gist, but I don't have time. So 30 seconds. Just think of what you want to say and go straight to the point. Hello.
Yeah, Maryann, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. Your name? Where are you calling from?
Thank you. You have a title for you. Let me commend your guest. Very, very brilliant man. I appreciate his contribution. But on the issue of the local government, let me ask him. In the Second Republic, the SDP NRC period, we had governors and we had local governments there. Yet, those local government chairmen operated autonomously without the interference of the governor. What it means is that the greed and the bitterness and the brutality of these present governors is what is overbearing. And that is why it seems this thing cannot work. And again,
Okay, all right.
look at some of the
Sorry, your 30 seconds is over. I'm going to say it again. Go straight to the point. What is your question? Write it down so you just read it out to me, okay? 30 seconds. I want the Honorable to respond to the one so far. Honorable. Can you hear me? Honorable, can you hear me? Are you there? Oh my goodness. I don't think he can hear me. Honorable Lebo, are you there? Can you hear me? Oh dear. Once he hears us, hopefully he can respond to us. Hello, welcome to Hard Facts. Turn off your radio, please.
Maryann, good afternoon.
Good evening.
Abi, good evening. This is from Odogbolu.
30 seconds, please.
Sir, ma?
30 seconds. Your clock is ticking.
Okay, you see, this issue of local government, there is nowhere it will work. That is number one. The issue of constitution. If I were to say, we say let us drop this old constitution and let the whole Nigeria construct a new constitution, because this one we are using now is not working.
All right. Thank you very much for calling, Eze. I do appreciate it. Hello. Welcome to Hard Facts.
Hello, hi, Maryann. Good evening.
Good evening.
So, I don't know if is your guest still around, Maryann?
Yeah, well, we lost him for a second. I don't know if he's still here. Honorable, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Great. Okay, so you can listen to the next caller. Go ahead.
All right, thank you very much. Interesting conversation you are having. A constitutional review or reform and hearing that will favor the masses. Well, for me, the ban on this issue, Maryann, is implementation, because the follow-through process is the problem here. Our political elites already realize that for their flagrant disabuse of the constitution, nobody will hold them accountable. So how and at what point will we as the citizens start testing the recall process for senators, House of Assembly members, and if possible, the impeachment of the president if this constitution are not hold sacrosanct?
All right.
That's my question. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Obole. Honorable.
Yeah, thank you. The first issue they raised about the bill. First, the bill is a proposal. The only way to present a proposal to the floor for argument is through a bill. So the bill is a proposal, is not a law. It is that bill that should be taken out for public hearing. So there's a proper procedure. The second issue of state police and all of that, you can't look at the problem and run away from the solution. We need to start somewhere. Whatever the issues are, we can deal with it. Then the grid of governors, there are states in which the local government are faring better. The governors at least are able to say, okay, there's this, apart from your overhead and payments, the balance of the development fund, take it and do certain things. And Cross River State is one example. That can happen. If the governors are not overbearing, even within the system, money should be made available after all the deductions for local government to be able to deal with their local issues.
I wish that we could take more questions, but our time is far spent. So I want to say thank you. Right Honorable John-Gaul Lebo. Hey, God. Lebo is a 2-time Speaker of the Cross River. Forgive me, it's because I don't call your name every day anymore, so I'm mispronouncing it. He's a 2-time Speaker of the Cross River State House of Assembly, and he's been talking to us about the ongoing constitution reforms. We're hoping that we can bring you back soon once the hearings are over and see what we make of the journey so far. But we want to appreciate you for coming on the show. We thank you so much for taking out time to come on Hard Facts today.
Thank you very much, Maryann.
All right. Well, Lagos, before we go, let me give you the number of the FRSC spokesperson. Yes, please do not call her. All you need to do is send her a WhatsApp message. She said it again and again. So please, I'm reminding you, do not text her, rather do not call her, just send her a WhatsApp message. The number is, take it down, 070-580-37459. I'll take it again, 070-580-37459. One more time, 070-580-37459. And that's for Officer Jayola. My name is Maryann Okon. Thanking you all for being part of the conversation today. It was a very interesting one. I hope you took something away from this conversation. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, MIMIEYO. I love you, Lagos. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
You are listening to your number one station for talk.
99.3 Nigeria Info.
99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk. 99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria